here. Yeah. It's 12,000 cooling BTUs, which is quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to get more information because the amperage would be what size breaker you need.
12,000 cooling BTUs and 11,000 heating BTUs, which would be pretty good for this space.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a lot.
Yeah. I wouldn't need to max it out, and stuff like that. Because this guy needs to go bye-bye.
I mean, it depends on how much, is it, you can get a 240 volt 15, 20, 30, 40, 50.
Okay.
So
that all depends.
Yeah, just
okay.
You could probably Google the amperage on that.
Okay. I'll look that up.
And that determines what cable size you're going to use for a gauge wire.
Oh, okay. Because I think it's time to step up the game in here, at least as far as cooling.
Not bad.
We only need it like 3 to 5 shows a year, but the heating, and I want to get one as quiet as possible. I think we're always going to hear a little bit of a fan noise. Mm-hmm. I mean, shit, you can hear the fridge, but it'd be nice to have something a little bit really nice, Clark. Get something for yourself. Really nice. That's what I would like to do. And that's what I started looking at, and I haven't told my wife. Actually, she did come down here. We're this epoxy. Mm-hmm. She has some of her fabric artwork. She wants me to build a frame and pour this in.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to do that tomorrow.
So you can go into AFib again?
Yeah, well, exactly. Mm-hmm. That's what I told her. I said, yeah, we'll have to definitely do it in a ventilated area because last time I went into AFib.
Yeah, get a painter's mask.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that and actually, I don't know if this is bad. It might have been this. It was either this or the stain that I used for the whole bar. But, take one for the team.
That's right.
The wife wants to hang her artwork outside, so I got to do it. That's not playing through the right fucking speaker. Even though I said it to do so.
Liar.
Professional broadcasting students. Professional. I also got a theory on the sinus situation, and it's all about AC units. I've been sleeping about 8 inches away from one since May.
Uh-huh.
And this started in May.
Yeah. Nope.
I'm going to be really embarrassed if it turns out to just be that I'm too stupid to move away from the AC unit.
Have you cleaned the filters?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I cleaned the filters regularly. But I've been literally 8 inches away, and it's just blowing cold, dry air on me all night. Okay. Let's go play bikes. Here we go, poem time, everybody. Waples are no-show. Dog's days of summer here. Air outside is hot, but I've got a cold pint of beer. That's a cheesy one. I'm supposed to be at Breck preparing to race. Now all I'm doing is thinking of which bourbon to chase. Welcome to episode 490. 490. We are 10 away from 500 episodes. Suck that. I don't think there's anybody who's got 500 episodes.
I think there is.
Well, probably because they do it like 2 or 3 a week.
They started in 2002 and did it one every week. So.
Oh, that's true. There was a while we did it one a month. Yeah, when it was just me and Mark. Anyway, welcome to the longest standing podcast on the sport of cycling. This is the one and only Packfiller Cycling Podcast. Again, think of it as a post-ride beer with several friends and one asshole. I'm potentially that asshole. Back to the OG3 format for us tonight, as the Waples family is tighter than my skin suit. Tonight's Scratch Prologue is where we I know, right? Look at that. There's a visual for everybody at home. Somebody just spit take. Scratch Prologue, powered by Scratch Labs Fuel and Hydration, is as follows. What would your talent be if you were in a Mr. World competition? Just like a, massive global talent beauty pageant, kind of a thing like that.
Talent.
You have to do a talent. Like some people sing, some, I don't know, play an instrument, some dance, stuff like that. I know none of us would win.
No,
that's tough.
We don't have any of that talent. No.
Yeah, so you got to think, okay, I'll give you a second here. I won't give you a second. First and foremost, he's got 10 miles of riding for every beer consumed this past weekend. Mr. Paul Main. Am I close? Was it 40 miles for the weekend?
Yeah, I think that's all we had. and about 120 ounces of beer.
Yeah. Well, 4 beers, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So 3, 4 across that. I don't know. You had 4 beers. I did too. And it was a great weekend. Mr. Palmain, how are you, man?
I'm doing all right. Mm-hmm.
Just all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to ask. I don't want to dig.
No, it's not bad. It's just, there's no racing, so it's hard to
This is
I
true.
can't wait.
Yeah.
And I'm really jacked because, I got my race in 2 weeks. It's just like, oh, well.
Fuck. If you were in a beauty and talent show, what would you do for your talent?
Oh, man. I don't know.
Critique people on their beer
Yeah,
choices?
I don't. Yeah, that would be interesting. Cite 130 sauna from Shakespeare.
There you go.
My
Yeah.
mistress eyes are nothing like
Poetry
the sun.
readings. There we go. Poetry readings.
Coral far more red than her lips.
See? Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
it.
Snowy white, then her lips are done, or skin are done. I can't remember.
10 from the Romanian judge right there.
Oh, thanks.
See, nice work. Second of all, he's planning on coming into next season as Mr. Jackson Bulger. Yeah, I wrote that down. It's on here. And jacked is all in capitals.
ACKED, yeah.
Jacked son Bulger. You are my jacked son.
Yeah, well, I guess so, yeah.
You're like, God, I hate you. Right now. How are you, man?
Good.
If you had to be in a beauty talent pageant, what would your talent be?
I remember what I was thinking. I can spin like most anything. So I have found out through being a preschool teacher all these years that I can spin any toy the kids put in front of me and they love it. They just eat it up. So we have these little flower toys right now, and you can make your own little garden, and you like put the flowers in like these little holes, and I like spin them perfectly. I just snap my fingers, and they like spin, and the kids are just mesmerized by it. Or these like little like wooden just shapes. They just like to play with like shapes sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's this one that almost looks like a top, but it's flipped upside down. And I, once again, snap my fingers and it like spins, and they're like, okay, try and spin this thing now. Try and spin this thing now. And I'm typically able to do it. So that would be my talent.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. You could upgrade to the point, I don't know if you've ever seen it, the plates, the people who spin the plates.
Yeah. It's on the, keeping it on the stick. Yeah.
I can hear that music. Exactly. Me, I'm going to have to go back to school in 3 weeks, and I'm always feeling sorry for myself about it. This is the time of year, if you've been listening to the show for a long time, usually in August, Pat becomes a little whiny little bitch because he's like going to have to go back to work, and everybody who works all year round goes, shut up and go to work. So I am. I'm Pat Bulger, and I think I'd have to do some sort of self-deprecating comedy routine, just make jokes about myself, which is kind of what I've been doing on this microphone since 1999. So it would work. I have plenty of material, almost 500 episodes of material. And so that would be my guess. I don't know. I'm not a stand-up comic, though, so it would probably flop horribly. So there we go. Gentlemen, as usual, how's the cycling life going? How has your past week been in terms of time on the bike?
Well, I mean, if we're talking time on the bike, I didn't get that much because over the weekend I went to a theme park and we walked 10 miles.
Dude.
So I thought, I'm going to just let my body rest on Sunday. My hips were like a little sore. But other than that.
It was hot, too.
Yeah, it was like mid-80s, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't like terrible, but it did get pretty warm there. So that I was just like, call it a weekend. It's fine. And then, but during the week, I've been staying pretty consistent with my mornings. And yeah, so that's
Still getting
good.
up at 5-ish?
Yeah, I get up at 5 now, and it's what do they say? It takes 21 days to make a habit.
Yeah.
So I'm on week, I want to say 2.5.
Wow.
And it's been, honestly, I like it. It's like today I got on the trainer and I did like a 30-minute system ride, which was from my training plan. And I had so much time afterwards. I had almost a full hour to just sit around. I was like, this rocks.
Sit and drink your coffee.
Yeah.
And
And chill, and it's good.
Yeah. It's I think I said it a couple episodes ago, but it's like like at first when you start working, you're like, how can I get as much time like sleeping or anything like that. But as you continue to work, you're like, how can I get as much time outside of work awake now?
Yeah.
It's like it's weird. Yeah. But yeah, it's been good.
Does it? I know I have to ask you about this before. Do you hit a wall in the evening?
You know, I thought I would, but I don't.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's because I'm like replenishing like my body a little bit better than I was before. I actually am trying to like eat a little bit better. I'm having a lot more protein in my diet now. And that's been kind of energizing me throughout the day. I have a bigger lunch that actually has like the food groups in it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't really hit a wall though.
Wow.
Like I thought I'd be tired when I came here today, and I'm feeling pretty good. I mean,
Good.
Paul's probably like, I haven't felt a wall in
No,
35 years.
I've helped even when I sleep in.
Yeah.
I have a bad 2 hours from 2 to 4.
That's
then,
that makes sense.
I'm right about in there too.
Yeah, just doesn't matter if I woke up at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
At 2 to 4, it's like,
Yeah.
So-
And I either need a coffee or a little 20-minute power nap, and then I can hit the reset button.
I don't do either. I just
don't?
fight it. And
Really?
Yeah. See, I
slap myself.
Just get mad at people. Don't talk to me.
See, I try to do the same thing because if I nap or if I have coffee, I worry that it's going to keep me up later.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I could drink a shot of espresso at midnight and be asleep by 12:15.
That's how my wife is too.
Yeah.
I can fall asleep after a shot like that, but I'll be up at 2 in the morning.
You will be later.
Yeah, then
Okay.
I won't get back to sleep. So.
Since we're with you, how's your cycling life?
Oh, well, it was fun this weekend with the Waxy Sentimental. That was kind of fun.
It was.
Your dad and I talked first on Saturday about the good old days.
Yep.
Right.
I'm going to touch base on that here shortly.
And
exactly.
and then Jack came along the next day. But
Yeah, I know. I was bummed I missed him. We just got home so late that day before.
So we did those two, and today I had I don't know if you saw my Strava. It says preparing for, in quotations, the punishment.
Oh,
So that hill,
yeah.
you know, that little loop that I do over there. There's like 5 hills that I do. I had to cut it short because I ran out of water, and up on this one part is called, Lincoln Road on top of this development called Eagle Ridge. They have a park, and I thought I'll just refill. There was no water in that park. I'm like, this is ridiculous. What do people? They must know to bring their water.
Yeah, apparently.
So,
holy shit! And it was, sorry, everybody else in the world. We're on a Fahrenheit setup. It was 95, 96 today.
Yeah.
near 40 Celsius.
My car was sitting in the direct heat at the end of the day, and it said 100. So I couldn't imagine what you were feeling.
The heat doesn't bother me. It's just that I got to have water. And I thought the worst thing is just sitting myself back. I had enough crap happen this. And get a heat stroke because I'm going to climb this last hill without any water and I'll be okay. And then on my way home, I'm
exactly.
I thought everything's okay. It didn't seem that hot on the last climb. I mean, I started getting chilled. I was done sweating. So,
I was peeing rocks.
I saw some kangaroos and squirrels were talking to me, but I was okay.
Yeah. Just like the old Snow White days.
Any water. Keep going, Paul.
The animals are singing with me. I got a good 4 rides in. It has been strange. I was training pretty intensively for Breck Epic. I was going out. I wasn't baby stepping. I was doing the works. And so I think I have some pretty good legs, but with all the stuff that's been going on with my sinuses and stuff like that and being on antibiotics, I was definitely not at top speed. I mean, on one of our rides this weekend, Paul, the one we went on Saturday, I was watching my head unit as I was going up to that climb, and I was like, my heart would not go above 150 something. And if I did, everything would just be like, it just hurt more than it normally did. And I think I'm just kind of, with all the drugs and stuff like that, it's not helping. But when I realized I wasn't going, also my brain has I'm in kind of a funk because, like you said earlier, Paul, it's like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be getting ready for? And it's weird. And so my mindset is in this kind of off state. I don't want my race efforts to be over but I don't have any race efforts to plan for. And I know, you could, hey, why don't you go do TNT and why don't you go do this kind of stuff? And it's different. It's very different. Mm-hmm. So how would you guys rate your mindsets right now? Cycling mindset. Are you guys settling into end of season activities, or are you guys like, I don't want to say I'm frustrated, but I looked at my wife today and I said, I should be really nervous right now. She goes, why? I said, because the first day of Breck Epic should be tomorrow. And she goes, are you sad? And I said, yeah, I'm a little sad. Mm-hmm. So it's, I don't know. How are you guys sitting?
I'm in a weird spot a little bit. I think my mind has shifted to, and it does this every year, and it's a hard shift for me.
Yeah.
But it has gone from I have to train because if I don't train, I like will lose that edge in a race.
Yeah.
To like just physical well-being and like I'm exercising for my health now, which is a tough thing for me. Like because I find that inside I see like numbers dropping. I see my watch tells me my VO2 max has dropped like 4 numbers or something like that. And my Strava fitness isn't the same as it was in June. And I think, and that's kind of like an anxiety inducing thing to see. Yeah. But in all reality, it's like, that doesn't really mean anything. And I have to remind myself that. So mentally, I'm still in the mindset of like, I want to exercise. I want to ride. I want to do all the stuff that I'm doing. But I also have to remind myself that, hey, you're not training for anything. Like, it's okay to, back off just a skosh.
I just looked at Strava and my progress.
See, and that's...
I'm down 19% over the last month.
Yeah.
And I'm up 35 from 3 months. God, why am I looking at this right now?
It's a torment.
It's just...
The 2 years, I'm only up 35%? Fuck.
But it's numbers that at first I look at and I'm like, the world's ending, I'm going to get dropped on the next ride, to, it's just there. And it's cycling's so situational as well that it's like, just because there's a number sitting on a screen doesn't mean that you're going to, lose everything.
Yeah.
You won't.
No.
Yeah.
No. He won't.
No.
We will.
Yeah, I could do everything. And even if I was on top of my game every single day, because of my age, I'm losing the next year.
Yeah.
You won't. You're still on that. At 26, 27, you're supposedly hit that plane.
Right.
In 30s, you start losing like 1-2%.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fall off is 60.
I'm just off a cliff.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Like with the old Norwegians, they would just push them off the cliff because they don't contribute to society anymore.
You ever seen Midsummer? The movie Midsummer?
No.
Oh, yeah. Spoiler.
Is that
alert.
what it is?
Spoiler alert. Yeah. It's pretty intense. Yeah, people are just like going, "We are no longer useful."
Yep.
Just major. Have you seen it?
Uh-uh.
Oh God.
Well, you said the plot. You just told the plot.
No. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it, but it is some heavy shit. It's in A24. If you've seen any A24 movies, but this weekend of riding was pretty much a story of coffee and beer. The one thing that came out of it was I just are reminiscing about the insanity that was being broke. A careless, I don't say careless, but without a care bike racer in the 80s and 90s and all the adventures that, upon reflection, not only leave many gaps in my memory, which I didn't realize, but realization that a lot of these stories wouldn't happen today. And I don't want to turn this into the old days were better or anything like that, because that's bullshit.
I thought of a little punch on that.
Punch
line for that. It wasn't better. It was just completely different.
Yeah.
It is completely, racing back then is completely different than it is now from many aspects. But anyway, roll on.
No, it's just, I was wondering, like, Jackson, could you imagine as a junior, your mom and me putting you into your own car and telling you to drive across the country?
No.
I mean,
that's the answer.
Here's a credit card.
Yeah. Like, genuinely, no, I don't think that my generation was set up for a situation like that.
Why do you think? Is that, especially coming from our generation's parents who lived it, why did we restrict that? Do you think we took that away from you, or do you think it was just a societal change?
I think it's a societal change.
Mm-hmm. I think the sharing of information was so different back then, even from when I was young, like to when you were juniors.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there were all of these stories and news things about like you send your kid alone, like they're going to get taken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that really had an alteration of whether or not you would have sent me on my way halfway across the country by myself.
Fucking Liam Neeson. It's his fault.
Yeah.
You're going to be taken.
I know.
Paul, what do you have any explanation as to why we did all this absolute dipshit stuff? You were talking earlier about, leaving your job for 4 months to go and live in Arizona. And
it ended up being 1 month. It was going to be 2 months. Yeah.
Okay. For an extended amount of time, multiple weeks, and just living off of a credit card and training your ass off. And you don't, I don't know. What's changed?
I had a nice fresh, I think it's just, there was no obligations. I mean, I think the push, this sounds weird, but the push for higher education and getting your life squared away was pushed about my senior year, like blue collar stuff, all that. It was all about getting going, get out of college, get a career, get married, blah, blah, blah. That was the push. But it wasn't like, I think it just started snowballing. If you look at like college, they grew exponentially in the 90s. That was like, that's what you did. You got out of high school no matter what, you're going to college. And so I think that's kind of changed. I know that I'm kind of going into the weeds here, but the whole idea of that freedom and taking, a gap year or just, enjoying life, it was more frowned upon. Is like, what are you doing with your life? Well, I'm just going to go race, see how far I can go racing right out of high school. I don't know if there's anybody that does that anymore. But that was common.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of guys that just like that was it. As soon as they got out of high school, they're going as far as they could on bikes, and I don't know anybody that does that now. So, and I think parenting. We touched on parenting. Yeah. I think the more information, even though we weren't into, the internet and all that, it wasn't available, but we were getting stepping up to more and more information and processing. And the stuff that comes through on news it's always negative.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden you start seeing all these things that's happening to kids and I think a lot of them are like, a lot of people, and me included.
We spent so much time talking about many of these road trips, just, excuse me, leaving the house and being gone for weeks at a time, or leaving the house and being gone for several days at a time, whatever it might have been. And the adventures many of the adventures that I found so interesting that we were talking about this weekend had nothing to do with the content of the race many times. Mm-hmm. It was just going and doing something, a car breaking down, any random things that had happened along the way. And those are such stepping stones. A human is defined by their life's experience, in my personal opinion. We all have a genetic foundation of who we are. You're going to have traits from your ancestors, your parents, whatever it might be. But that's the canvas. From there on out, you're defined by your experiences. And to have some of these absolutely bizarre experiences and spend time with some of these absolutely bizarre individuals is what makes us who we are. And it made me sad, especially when you brought up the idea, and how I want to bring this back to the sport is how all of this has affected the sport, how we have grown as a society into not necessarily, I don't want to say adventurous, but we're kind of within our own mini societies and things like that, and what that has done to the sport, and how the sport has been affected in the fact that you could put on a race and you don't have people traveling to you from 3, 4, 5 states over as much anymore, or people aren't doing like a tour, where you could go, okay, I'm going to go down, I'm going to leave here, I'm going to go down, I'm going to do the tour, Casper Classic, and then I'm going to make my way up to Denver and do these kind of things, and then I'm going to go over to Milwaukee and do this and things like that. Yeah, and I just, And what I was going to mention that you mentioned the other day, Paul, is you asked, and I don't know if you've done this on the show or not, how many people do you know at a higher stage in their cycling lives, cats 1s, 2s, 3s, are single and vagabonds and driving around being bike bums? You asked that question, and it was perfectly poignant. I don't know any anymore.
The only one I can think that's doing is Bear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, he's the only one, and he's
18.
Yeah, he's 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, I can't think of anybody. I know an old teammate of mine, Scott McSpadden. Gosh, I can't remember who he was racing for. He and another guy, I think it was Olympic Sports. They were traveling, doing Tour of Texas or down through there, doing crit series and stage races. Oklahoma had the 69er, isn't that what it was called?
Oh, God, I don't know that one. But, yeah.
Oklahoma had a big stage race. And so they were going through all that. And just as, like one of those stories, the team was supposed to pay because they were, doing all these big races. And they were supposed to wired, from Western Union to get money. And they said, yeah. And so they were living off their crit and winnings, preems and winnings in order, waiting for their paycheck to come. And they ran out of money, and they were stuck in the middle of the night in Texas. And all they could afford was a 5-pound bag of potatoes. And they built a fire from old cactuses and stuff and threw the potatoes in the fire. And that's how they made it through for a couple of days. A 5-pound bag. And raced their bikes.
Yeah.
That would never happen today. I can't imagine it.
No. Yeah. And you wonder if that has done the damage. I don't want to say, I don't want this to turn into better in my day or all that bullshit. But it has definitely changed the landscaping and the populace of the sport in terms of the events, in terms of the frequency of the events, and in terms of the people who are attending the events. We almost become kind of district locked. Is that?
Yeah.
Am I stretching?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that
it's hard for you, Jackson, because you this is your perspective on the sport. You are living it now. You are in the age where we were doing stupid shit. And you said the other day, my prologue question was, when have you broken the rules? And you're like, I don't break the rules. I haven't done anything bizarre like that.
I think, growing up with how I did, I think that it was always in the back of your mind that you have to be realistic. No matter what. I poured a lot of my soul into soccer.
Yeah. But
the entire time, I just remember when I was getting older, I just remember thinking you have to be realistic. Like, what if you don't make it? You can't put all your eggs into this basket. You have to really understand that, like, you're probably not going to be the 1 in a million that are picked.
Okay. And who told you that?
Well,
was that your inner voice? Because no, I hope to God it wasn't your father.
No, I think just after a little while, you hear it from whether it be school counselors, whether it be all these different things that it's like, you can't put all your eggs into one basket, because what if you've done that and you aren't the 1 in a million that's picked? What if you aren't the next Tade?
Tear an ACL.
Yeah. What if something like that happens? So you have to be like understanding of the fact that, like, you have to be available for a, I guess another word I would use is available position in the world. And so you kind of start to slowly but surely think that way. While putting all this time into a sport, you also have to put all this time into, like, that being realistic and understanding that, hey, I do need to make a career. I want to have a life outside of this maybe. And then slowly but surely I found that outside of sport that it was more important to me to pour my time into that, because I knew that it would, not only was it more, financially viable, but also it was just something that I liked. Yeah. And I think that's kind of how it goes for, a large population of young cyclists. They realize that I said it a couple weeks ago, is that it might be a hobby because you aren't that 1 in a million, which is okay. And accepting that is hard. But I think that's why I didn't do the stupid shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I was always worried about that. I have to make myself available for the proper career.
Yeah. It makes me wonder how many ones in millions we have lost because of the fear of not being one in a million.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. We got a shitload of insurance salesmen.
And real estate agents.
Yeah,
exactly.
I tell you what, I was playing with Tom Brady until I hurt my shoulder. Those type of guys.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
yeah.
But how many people, potential talents, have stepped away because of?
I can think. What was his name? Steve Smith.
Yeah.
He was asked to be on the national team, by my recollection, and he hit like 19, 20 years old, and he goes, "You know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
I've been doing it since I was like 13 years old. Never been on a date. Saw one movie in his life. It was everything was cycling. And he was a talent.
Yeah.
And how many get through there. But I have a question for you.
Okay.
So that story I told you about the traveling through racing, just living off your crit money, and then having the potatoes. That whole story. When you heard that story, what went through your head? Would you think, "Oh, no way"?
What did you think? Sweet, let's
Yeah.
do it.
My first thought genuinely was, what a stupid idea. Just because. Anyways, just because I have never set myself on an adventure like that where I didn't think I could financially accomplish my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, getting to that point where I don't have any money is beyond my breadth of imagination. I couldn't fathom that type of a situation. That stresses me out even talking about it.
How good are you guys at traveling improv style like that? Just like going, okay, here we go. I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight. But
when I was younger, it was not a problem. I'd figure it out when I got there.
Really?
But I started, like, when we were talking, I started when I was 22. It was my first bike. My first race, I was 23. So unlike your dad, you guys had support.
Yeah.
And so I had to work. I was always working at least 25, 30 hours a week. There was a period there I was working 40 to 50 in order to supply. The only thing is so I could race bikes. I lived in a studio apartment. It cost me $165 a month. I ate bananas, skim milk, potatoes, boxed macaroni and cheese, and refried beans and rice.
Wow.
That was my diet. And boy, I'd pile it up in the morning in the toilet.
Oh my God.
You're crowning.
Yeah, it was crown. But I mean, to me, it was like, I don't care it was part of my journey. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because that's what other people did. This is what I wanted it that bad. So now as an adult and I have obligations, there's no way. If it's going to put financial stress.
Yeah.
It's not even an option. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm always late in entering races, because I just don't want to waste that money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when I was, 23, 24, 25, it was like, hell yeah, let's go. Somebody would say, hey, there's a race. I didn't know if I had the money or not. I'd sell some things. I'd do whatever. I'd go,
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, as I grow older, I can't improv travel necessarily. I mean, especially, even as something as straightforward as with the Waples did at the Tour de France is not knowing where you're going to stay that night. I could be okay with it, but it would be nagging at me all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, you've talked about how I'm kind of into this overlanding idea, taking your car and just going off-road, finding places to camp on a whim. And I watch these videos and everything about, kind of boondocking.
Yeah.
And they have this app that you can like search through and find campsites where it's okay to just like primitive camp over the night and then leave the next day. And I was thinking, I wouldn't be able to not have that app. I would have to have something to fall back on so I know where I could go and I could like just have a place.
Yeah.
So to answer the question, I don't know how well I do it. I got to know where I'm going to be.
I think I think this whole thing can be summarized as the fact that information has both positively and negatively changed our lives so much.
Yeah.
We have so much more we are so much in touch with, or lack of in touch with the world around us, that we live in fear of what's happened to somebody 500 miles away. You hear 5 stories of somebody being shot, all of a sudden you think you're going to step out your house and be shot.
Mm-hmm. And
it's like shark attacks or something like that.
And
all of a sudden the sharks are killing everybody.
And part of me wonders if it's the information or if it's the way we consume it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's always just flashing in front of us. We have to consume it.
Yeah.
And then it's also how we digest it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, on information and stuff, the things that like last year when I went to the EPO, you guys were staying up in La Conner area, and back in the day, I would call. And he would give me directions. So I-5, I'd write all this down.
Yeah.
I'm driving, looking at the piece of paper. It was late at night.
Yeah.
Now
the brown mailbox, take a left.
Exactly.
After you drive 3 more blocks, there's a little creepy kid standing on the corner with a lollipop going, la, 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 la. Turn around. You've gone too far.
Yeah. Do not cross.
Yeah.
But, same with the, getting information on races. We'd get flyers at that time as the USCF would sell your mailing address, and I would get inundated with all races that were happening from Indiana to like Texas and stuff.
It was freaking awesome.
Yeah, you get all this. I didn't have to go to
probably
a
illegal
site.
That is now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, they're doing it all the time. It's your email address.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
And to me, is if I signed up for a race, they always had directions and a map.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get to where the map on that. You always keep that little flyer that you got, and that's how. I mean, the first time I went to Banana Belt, I had to go through Portland. Never been in that section. I made it every time.
Yeah.
Never. I mean, I didn't never stressed out. I don't know. The phone book was a big friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just you had resources, but it wasn't like, man, it was so easy going to La Conner and finding that place, and that was deep down to a dead end road.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. Bike racing is probably the most primitive in terms of telling you where the hell to go. Even with
most drivers tell me where to go all the time.
Yes, that's true. But even with and I don't want to poo-poo Tour de Bloom at all. However, even on a race as large as that, finding the start locations of each of those was a bit of a dig.
Was it?
I had to really get into the weeds about where all these addresses were and everything, and then once I finally found a location that was near enough, I had to pinpoint another it was just a whole process. I was like, well, this is very surprising.
I could see that, but it wasn't for us. It was normal for us to ask another rider, "Hey, with the shark, where are we staging?" I mean, that's just what it went over me. But yeah, there was a couple of times the Waterville race. I had raced that before, but they changed the course to start and the finish line. And so, all I did is that's not where it was before. So
look around for people with bikes on their roof or something.
Exactly. And it was a small little town. You can't get lost.
No.
And you just follow people that riding. It's there's more people this way than that way. That guy's warming up. I'm going this way.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it. But I couldn't find the staging for the last stage up in Plain.
That was a little bit confusing.
Yeah, because you park in this area, you sign up, and it's dirt. And it's are we starting on gravel? What's...
Yeah.
And
God damn it.
I'm I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I find that's the first thing I do. Every time I get a flyer and I'm sitting in the hotel room, I have to pinpoint where I'm going to park my car. Just because I got to be sure. It's maybe I'm just the little bit of planer in me that's developed over the years. But yeah, I always have to find that stuff.
No, I am agree. I don't know how much I can wing it at this point anymore in terms of some of these things. Mm-hmm. I guess and especially because, like you said, with an app that can tell me where my campsite's going to be at night, let's get that out of the way. Let's not worry about it, so we can just do something else. This is click, 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 done. Okay, now let's enjoy the drive. Instead of going, it's getting dark outside. People over there. I hear there's a coven of witches that live over there. Oh shit!
Yeah,
Jackson's standing in the corner. Stuff like that facing the wall.
Oh my God! Don't even.
There's a Blair Witch reference for you. But all this got Paul and me thinking about and I'm just throwing this out. I'm not saying it's going to happen. A series for the show that I'm tempted. I always come up with titles, but first one was Back in the Day. or I could even use it as Packfiller Perspectives label, as we have already created. Jackson did that one for me. Talking about the days of everything between Wheat Thins Mayor's Cups to actually, riding and racing along riders from the 7-Eleven team, and getting stories from the riders of the era. Even if because the show's about Packfiller, it's about not necessarily the people who won, it's about the people who were there and some of those experiences along the way. I'm not sure how it would be received, and this is where I'm going to throw this out there, not only to YouTube, but to all the listeners. And, the last thing I want to do is turn into, which is what the show might be, is a bunch of guys drinking beer and mansplaining, how bikes were cooler than when we were kids. I don't want to do that, but I think it'd be a fun show to do on locations in live places, but not with speakers and stuff like that, but just like a table in the back of a bar, and stuff like that, and hear what it sounds like, and of course include rides. So first of all, I want to throw that out to you two and see what you guys, what you think. Just telling stories about, when Jack got included into this, I thought we were going to be there all day. Because he and I shared a lot of adventures together. But the funny thing is neither of us knew some of the information about the adventures, and that's what makes it so hilarious. It's like, dude, the car broke down in Fort Collins, Colorado. How did we get to the next race?
Neither one of you knew.
We didn't know. And that's what's just
16 years old.
Yeah.
You think that would be traumatic. You're out in the middle of, Colorado. And it's a small town.
Yeah. It's tiny, little, windy as shit. We pulled it over at a gas station and the car was dead. And how did we get from sitting on the curb beside the car to Nationals, which were in Denver? I have no idea. It has left my mind. Or, times in Milwaukee where we were, my parents thought we were going to be staying with a family, but we ended up staying with 4 college girls. And I'm calling my dad on a landline saying, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing like that. But I would like to know if those kind of stories would be interesting to an audience, or would it just, you guys should just drink beer and share your old bullshit?
Yeah, I think that it offers perspective into the sport that isn't necessarily available very much anymore, because it, like we talked about, it's very different. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, or even that, as your title is your segment is titled, sorry, Paul, changing times, about the technology of the sport, about the advancements of the sport. And, not necessarily saying it was harder, but saying how different it is and how wonderful some of these modern advances are. So.
Mm-hmm. They are indeed. As in like a branch, the show, adding that waxing sentimental thing. I think for me, it's not just about the bike race itself. Part of the journey is, most of my journeys when I think about the racing is who was with me, who was on that road trip down to Mount Hood stage race. Who did we encounter at that time? The silly things that happen that you experience when you're going down there. And I came across, as I mentioned many times before, I'm a Escape Collective, contributor to, and not contributor, but as a patron. And
yeah.
So they had an article. I started reading it. It's fairly lengthy for for me in front of a screen, but it's called The Classic, and it's this guy who it was very well done about waking up in the morning, and his hand reaches down on the cold wooden floor, finding his T-shirt that he threw down there. He's getting ready to go for a race, and he wakes up and the rain's hitting the window, and and like the flag is. All that is part of just not going on the perfect day to ride with your friends, and it's like you really have to, and that was us. We really wanted to. We were there to race, and that's what we were after. That journey there, the sacrifices, not even thinking about. Yeah, we're just 16 years old, and your dad picked up Jack's girlfriend, who was a junior in high school.
Right. I've heard this
can you imagine?
Drove her across the country.
I was like, there's
I
no
never
way
met her
like-
parents. She showed up. I don't know how she got into my car, but I was supposed to drive her to Casper, Wyoming, so she could be with Jack. I have no idea how she got into my car. I never met her parents. They didn't say, I want to see this guy going in your car. No, they just, bye, hun.
And
I don't even know if she had fucking gas money.
Yeah. But I think to me, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And even, to me, I look fondly in the last year, one of our better moments when we all went to Missoula. We had to deal with the white tiger. I mean, we spun off of that.
Yeah.
And that is part of the experience of travel. And to me, even Turd of Bloom. I mean, we all have a different story of what it, I was obviously in a different category, but I mean, still we were in the same hotel and we, did our thing. So yeah, I think that journey is just as important as the race itself.
Interesting develop on our Tour de Bloom next year, by the way.
Interesting what?
It's in the works right now that
I haven't seen this.
we're going to, somebody texted us out today that we might put together a big Spokane super team.
Oh.
So, of 2s, 3s. So.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be excited to do something
Like its own
composite
kit
team
and everything like that?
No, not necessarily. I think it'll be we all wear
I'm just saying, I know somebody who'd be really jazzed about sponsoring that.
Well, I was going to say, honestly, like...
Yeah, it'd be
composite
cool.
team.
Yeah. Get us a couple of... Just get us, like, the black jersey or whatever.
Yeah,
and
probably nicer than that, but, get you some kits and stuff like that.
So we all are going to wear our team kit from the waist down.
Okay.
But
The
a matching
jersey.
jersey on the top. So...
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I'd have to check because of the ranking of that. It depends on legalities of the use. I mean,
Just checking with USA Cycling that you can all...
that you can have different... Yeah, you have. It's weird once you get to a certain level of race.
You have to have the same
they
kit.
have,
Yeah, I know that.
And I don't know if shorts would be a part of that.
Well, I will say, Sam didn't have the same skin suit on one of the stages,
And
they didn't even care.
Yeah.
Sam also didn't have the same shorts ever.
And it usually was. There's times we were on the team, and we didn't have a problem, even if somebody wore last year's was the same color.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the same sponsors, so no one really thought about it until somebody protests because they lost third. They were third and lost to this guy, and he was in the proper kit. Some people can be petty, and that is where you can get nailed.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm probably.
But
not.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it'd be exciting.
Yeah. That was very common because, like, bigger races like Turd of Bloom, like Washington Trust Classic, you had to be on the team. You couldn't do it as an individual. And so there was tons of composites.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that's a great idea.
So right now we'd have a team of like 5 or 6.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. So anyway, thoughts about that segment, about that, kind of a break-off show, a limited series, whatever it is. I'd like to hear from you guys who listen to the show. Let me know what you think on either Facebook or drop me an email, patrick@packfiller.com. I think it'd be fun. Another thing that kind of reminded me was the book, if you guys have read Phil Guyman's Draft Animals. It's a really good book. It's a really interesting read about his career and stuff, and how he came about and his early teams. And some of the best chapters in that book are just the random shit he talked about, like when he had to ride Paris-Roubaix and he wasn't anywhere qualified to ride Paris-Roubaix, and his way trying to find his way back to the car because he dropped out of the race, or sneaking out and getting McDonald's after bike races and stuff like that. It was cool. It's a good book. I recommend it very highly. So let's get to news headlines. Brought to us by a mention of our friends at Untapped Maple. Fuel right with Untapped Maple and their clean energy source with pure Vermont maple syrup at its core. Who just hit the fucking sponsor read? Who just hit the fucking sponsor read?
Victory salute.
Damn.
Go ahead. Arms in the air.
That was mine. I did the guns before.
Did you?
Before Contador took it from me.
El Pistaro.
Yeah. He took it from me. Story number 1, too much for Kitsiki. Former Zwift Academy winner Louis Kitsiki has abruptly ended his career as a professional cyclist due to increasing concerns for his own safety following the deaths of riders in races in the last 2 seasons. This is from cyclingnews.com. German rider, 21 years old. Detailed mental effects on the passing of several riders in several races that he's done over this last 2 years. Earned his way to a spot on Alpecin de Koenig through the Zwift Academy competition in 2023. He was honest of how he could, quote, never reproduce in races what I had worked so hard to achieve in training, end quote. Affected by the tragedies of the races he was present at, unable to match previous performance levels with the chaos of the peloton and the safety fears serving as a mental block in competition. He had no doubts about his decision to call an end to his career, though with one rider in particular by the name of Samuel Privitera, confirming his decision. He had always been pondering. Privitera passed away at the Giro Ciclista Valle d'Aosta in July. This appears to be kind of not an ongoing thing. I don't necessarily want to bring up rider deaths, but I want to talk about how the safety of the peloton and the insurgency of the peloton has become threatening or concerning for riders, for staff, for the governing body, and things like that. Do you guys truly think it's getting out of control, or can we pinpoint it to something specific like rider position, eagerness of all riders, lack of a patron, gearing, course design, anything like that? What is causing these 21-year-old riders to go, I fear for my life, I quit? Shrugs our shoulders. Yeah,
I don't know. It's
I mean, without being in the peloton, it's hard to know. I assume, but
and it's all personal choice. It depends on what you're willing to risk to win. And that sounds like such a cutthroat sentence, but like realistically, you're going out there and we say this when we go out even on training rides, that there is that chance out there in the world that you go out for a ride and it might be
your last.
Yeah. But at the same time, I also don't want to say that the peloton is, unsafe. I think that it is safe, but I think that there are instances that create that lack of safety. And I don't think it's down to anything. I just think it's kind of how the sport is going right now.
Yeah. And there's probably not one thing. Yeah. Like we talked, I mentioned the rider position where, during the tour, it's always been common for the team, like the winning team lines up and for a photo op, and they get their hands off the bars and their hands behind everybody. And a couple of people were struggling. Adam Yates had a problem. Roglic doesn't do it. And I looked at their positions, after that, and they're sit forward. And if you try and sit forward on your bike and try and balance it, it's worse than when. And our positions was back. And you look at, man, pro racing all the way up until 2002 or 3, helmets weren't mandatory. You think about that. Yeah. I mean, all the way from 1893 was the very first. It was Liège-Bastogne-Liège pro race. So, but it does seem, whether we're getting more information, there's more road furniture, and I have to question too. Again, this is the old days type thing, but even as good and talented as you were there to fetch water and learn. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, they've got tons of millions of dollars on these guys. Yeah, that are, you're 21 years old and you're getting $5 million a year, $3 million a year. You're not getting bottles. Yeah. And you position in those small, it's like what we ride on a small country road from the yellow line there. Think of 180 people in that small space. Yeah. And everybody goes from the gun now. Since COVID, that's the way racing's 100%.
That's what got me thinking is this guy, and I do not want to poo-poo this organization or how this development program came about, but he came up through the Zwift Academy. Now, the guy through a search, yes, please, thank you. The guy through a search, I did some research on him a little bit, and he was obviously a cyclist prior to. He didn't just hop on his trainer and make these things happen. But when you get incredibly rapid development, I think it was 2 years, and then he achieved the status through Zwift Academy. 2 years, and then he is thrown into the professional peloton. Are we so fixated as, again, information? There is no way in the 1990s you could have said, I can produce these incredible watts. I deserve a pro contract. Is something flawed within that? Because Zwift Academy does not teach bike handling.
Interesting. This last season, did you watch it, Jackson?
No.
That was part of their deal. They had to go. They would have Andrew Vanderpool do this circuit.
Matthew.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. I just did a Phil-legged.
Yeah, you did. Audrey Vanderpool. Holy shit.
Yeah. So anyway, and he showed them their lines and that, and they had to mimic it. And so they added that to bike handling as a part of their deal.
Okay.
So I think they're aware of it, but still, you're not going to learn it in a 1 week contest.
No. And being even in a 2s, 3s peloton is like not something that somebody just getting into the sport is something that they could do.
Yeah.
It's a part of the discipline in and of itself. It's really a kind of a freaky thing.
But with modern training, we're in a situation where people have access to these training programs and this technology, and they can buy these bikes and they can set up these things, and they can be a person who has done very little but can nail 450 watts for 20 days, that's obviously an exaggeration. But they can, their FTP is well over 300, and they show up to a bike race with a bunch of people who've been racing since 1982. And all of a sudden they're squirreling all over the place, but they have such a powerful engine that they can hang. I don't want to bash on these people, but when you've got stuff like this, and this guy, and Katsiki is not the only one out there who advanced quickly like this into these ranks. And is that something to be said?
Well, I think that cycling also really does kind of weed that out in a way. You were talking about the person who shows up to they're a 4 or a 5 and they have an unbelievable engine.
Yeah.
And they just wax the field, but then they start rising up through the ranks, and slowly but surely they realize that they're not as good as they thought they were because they can't place themselves correctly. They're too squirrely. They don't take the right line. And I think that after a while, when they realize that it is more difficult than beating everybody on Zwift, maybe that interest weans a little bit.
That's what makes me think about this guy whose quote was, "I could never produce in races what I had worked so hard to achieve in training." Well, neither can I.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're all by yourself.
Yeah.
Well, and you think about our training too. Back in Z Day.
Yeah.
I rode constantly in a group. There's always, and guys from different teams and stuff. We always went on training rides. There was so nowadays it's all, hey, I'm doing my intervals. Group rides are small. I did everything. Almost every training ride and race was within a group, so you learn to handle your bike, as opposed to now that time riding in a group nowadays, I think because the way training is less and less.
Yeah. And
so your skills kind of are not as advanced as your ability. So,
and I think it's overlooked very heavily. A lot of people, a pro team can see somebody who has, a sprint of 1,800 watts or something like that, and go, holy shit, we got to get this guy on a contract. But you don't take into account that how long is it going to take this guy with this massive freaking engine to dial it in and get him going and get him to where he needs to be and get him, understanding the tactical mind, the social mind. Being a pro cyclist is a brutal way of life. You're away from your home. You're living like a monk. You got sponsors yelling at you. You got team directors yelling at you. You watch Tour de France Unchained, and I remember going, "Oh, this is going to be cool. Oh, this is exactly how shitty I thought it was going to be." Everybody's a prick telling you to win.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you're going home. Yeah. And they're telling you, if you guys don't do something today,
this is your
you're
job.
going fucking home.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it. And this guy, obviously, God bless his heart for giving it a roll of the dice. So
Marcel Kittel, who's fantastic, he just quit, and it wasn't because of that same reason. It was just he didn't like the pressure.
Yeah,
because he was an extremely. Mark Cavendish said he was the only guy he was afraid of in the sprint. He could beat anybody but that one, and then the pressure was on both of them.
Yeah,
and Mark can handle it. That's why he's so prickly, I think.
Yeah.
And Marcel is a nice, gentle giant, and he's just like, and we're starting to see a little bit that with Tade. I'm looking for my retirement. The pressure just starts weighting you down. It's not fun.
And it's not just when he's racing his bike. It's 24/7. 365. It is, every
Goes
waking
out for
moment.
a ride. There's people waiting for it, taking pictures, wanting an autograph.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Are you on drugs?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Or you are on drugs, they're accusing you of it. So there we go. Story number 2, and not necessarily a story for Paul to give a shit about news. The 2025 Leadville Trail completed this past weekend, with the total domination being the theme for both the men's and women's division, let alone a new course record for the women by Kate Courtney, and a 5th consecutive win by Keegan Swenson. As Jackson and I have both in some ways experienced the race, I wanted to touch base on it and discuss a few significant points. First of all, the fact that it was streamed live for free in its entirety. Yes. I watched a big chunk of it. Did you guys catch any of it at all? Highlights or anything? You did? You fell asleep. Okay, good. I was going to wonder what you thought. Really?
Yeah. Yes. It was just like I watched it and I realized that I was watching more shots of the mountains than I was of the race. And that is shitty broadcasting.
Well, they did have follow motorcycles, and they try and keep it to race, but still, there's only so much when there's dust kicked up and helicopter shots.
Yeah, I just got really bored after a little while, especially because this race you go in and you're like, I will speak solely on the men's for a second because I found the women's to be much more exciting.
Yeah. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
The men's from the gun was a snooze fest. You're thinking, oh man, I can't wait until Keegan wins. I can't wait until Keegan goes on Columbine.
Is that where he went? He did go on Columbine. Yeah.
For the 5th year in a row.
Yeah. And it was over.
It was over. Kate Courtney was an exciting addition to this race. Former UCI.
She still is a World Cup racer.
I was going to say world champion.
Oh, I apologize.
No.
I gotta relax.
Gotta hear it out.
I gotta fucking... I'm living with your mother so much. I got to get everything out. I gotta get my words out.
But high-profile athlete coming to this event, and just ripped it apart. And I was so happy to see that. She wasn't supposed to be there from her calendar, but she made it, and that was cool. Sorry, that was probably jumping ahead, but
not at all. No, I just kind of wanted to get the feel of it, and I also was through watching it, and I raced it in 2016. I can't believe that's coming up on 10 years ago. And from what I remember of the course, there were a lot of paved sections. Some of the mountain sections, you would say, a good chunk of the Columbine climb is what you would consider a gravel climb.
Yeah,
I mean, hands down, it's a gravel road. A good chunk of it. Power line's different coming up. It's still pretty wide open. It's, there's not a whole lot of technical sections on it. But now, mind you, this is coming up on 10 years ago when I did it. But you're seeing a lot of the riders actually, so many riders with drop bar mountain bikes that John Tomac is sitting up going, fuck.
Did you see their forks too? Keegan's and Sofia Villafaña's forks, how they have a RockShox Aero forks
design. Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
It really just looks like you took some cardstock and zip tied it onto their onto their forks. Yeah, that's all it really looks like. Yeah. It's just in black.
I mean, this race, which was created and grown as a mountain bike race, I'm anxious to know if people are still considering it as such. I mean, it is touch and base on just a gravel race.
I think that trying to label it is not fair because they're like you said. The women's was one on a flat bar.
Yeah, Kate Courtney did.
But the others, you can see so many sections where a drop bar would be handy.
So you know how she remedied that? Did you see that shit?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
she put her hands on the fork crown.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
My fingers.
Yep.
They just crunch. You can hold them up. We're just going, no, fuck. One little slip and your chest is on your bars and you're going,
yeah.
God. But
for her.
I enjoyed watching it. And I'm glad you started out by saying, oh my God, snooze fest. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was probably more for me because I was like going, oh shit, I remember that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I'd look at my wife going, that's where you guys didn't catch up to me to feed me in time, but I got bottles and then I caught you on the way back or, all that kind of stuff. And so anyway, it's interesting. I thought it would bring some memories. I know Paul's answer, but Jackson, would you ever do it?
Man, I think that the trip is really cool and the place is really cool. I don't know. I mean, it's a long day out. 100 miles on a mountain bike is a big day.
It's a long day.
So give me a few years.
You're climbing a lot, and you're starting at 10,000 feet.
Yeah, I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes as of now.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you.
Well, I was just going to say, I think if you're into conquering or doing accomplishment, like, some people want to do a marathon in their life or whatever. I think that's a great idea. I mean, anything to get people off their butts, but it's certainly not for me. I lose interest after 4 hours on a bike.
Yeah.
It's all I'm thinking about. I just want to get home. That's it. I mean, even if it's bike racing, road races, I just came unglued. That's just not my attention span. So
I will say I would probably do it again. If somebody said, "Hey Pat, here's an entry," I would do it again. It still blows me away that it's an out and back course, especially the Columbine Climb, where you've got the top riders in the world bombing down a gravel road, and you've got mountain bike riders or whatever who are on both sides of the road, and they're bombing around blind corners, and you never know who you're going to come across. And I'm like, how the hell has that not ended in some sort of horrible pileup? Yeah. It scares me, but there we go.
Beyond me.
Yeah, there we go. So and as you said, Paul, for me it was a bucket. Mm-hmm. I checked off that list, but it was one of those events that, like I said, I would maybe go back to. So, not a whole lot of them. I'm not going to go back to BWR Bill.
Would you do Bozeman. San Diego again?
I don't know. I hear the course is different, but and the time of year is always a really nice change, because the time of year we did it in was July, and it was brutal. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There are the thing about BWRs and some of those other kind of adventure races like that. There are so many of them, and there's so many amazing locales that why keep going back to the same one? Mm-hmm. Pete Stetna, for example, talked about Leadville this year. He says, I know my skills, and I know the best I can do in Leadville is not something I need to bother with. Yeah. So I'm not going to go. Yeah. And I would be the same thing with, I would love to go to, BWR has a race in Vancouver. I'd love to do the Rift in Iceland, some of those things, just because it's like, holy shit. How about Kansas? Unbound? Unbound, I would never do. Simply because I've seen so many years where the weather turns sour and it destroys your bike. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go to an event over fear that I'm going to leave and I'm going to be out and my bike's going to be destroyed. Mm-hmm. Do an Unbound. Yeah, Jack.
I used to think it would be so cool.
I would love to ride it, but not at the fear of destroying gear. Sorry.
I used to think it would be so cool to do it. And then after a while, it's like, why would I want to be out there for like 12 plus hours? Yeah. And just like I've seen people get like bacterial infections from it because they're eating so much dirt all day.
Yeah, and the
cow fields.
Yeah. You get that stuff gets on your water bottle. Yeah. Like that. How about the 100-mile? Would you think about doing the 100-mile?
I'd do the full Unbound. I would.
You would think so. You wouldn't do 100. That wouldn't even make.
Oh sure, but why am I going all the way there unless I'm going to do the real deal?
Yeah. See, I'm not flying to Emporia, Kansas.
I don't think you can fly in there either.
No, you can't. You gotta do.
Boy, are my arms tired. I would do the whole thing, but no, I don't. When I saw Amariah finish her race, and her seat stays were basically sawed in half from just the mud and the gravel, and I want to go to a bike race. I don't want to go to a walking race with my bike too. So. Yeah. So the Rift, I hear, is kind of like that too. There's some hike bike sections because the sand is so bad. But you're in Iceland, man. How cool is that?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Let's get to our segments for tonight. You guys ready? I got 2 segments. Thanks to you, the listener. It's growing. The Patreon is up on the homepage, and thanks to many of you, we are not only able to keep the lights on, but beer flowing through the conversation. I need to get a new AC unit in this place. Don't get me started on how bad that shit is for my sinuses. So if you'd like to help support the show, be sure to check out our Patreon. It is free to join, and donations can be as little as $1 there. Begging over. We're going to start with Changing Times with Paul Main. And this week's theme or title, Guts or Glory or Both. Can't wait to hear this one's going to go.
Well, I almost reached out, and instead of guts, I was going to think grit.
Grit?
And what triggered that is our weekend talk with Jack.
Yeah.
And we're talking about what got us into road cycling. And mine was Paris-Roubaix, as I mentioned 1,000 times. And because of the conditions and everything, I just thought, this is the coolest sport. I mean, it's just everybody's on their knees, and it's just a mental game at a certain point. I love that. And for Jack, I won't go too far in this story because that's someday he may be telling it, but he was into BMX, and he went down to a start of a race, and one of the guys that finished had a bloody nose and blood's all over and everything. Not from anything, but he just had to try. Yeah. And he's like, cool, I want to be there. So that was like, that was the gut thing that like we wanted to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much that I wanted to be a winner. I wanted to win, but that was the part that really brought me into cycling. To me, I used to romanticize in the old NFL. There's, I can't even remember his name, but he would be on Johnny Carson and tell all these backstories of, these guys, like when they're tackling and stuff, the shit they would say to the other guy when on the ground. Yeah. I mean, Deacon Jones came up with, and it's an illegal move, but some guy would come to block him, and he'd take his forearm and hit him right in the ear hole.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, it was just this brutal sport, and I loved football back then. And you wonder why everybody has like brain damage. But anyway, we don't need to do that. Yeah. But still, nevertheless, but the glory part, I think I've met a lot of guys that were into wanting to cross their line. All of us do, but they're not the grit, not the glory, not the guts. But, I mean, it's the glory is what they were after. They wanted to seek that glory. And those, to me, the ones that search for just the glory part, faded away faster, in my recollection.
Absolutely.
Because in cycling, no matter how good you are, you move up a level, whether it's category or districts or regions or national or worldwide, you're going to get your teeth kicked in. And if you can't handle that. So my question is, what got you into cycling? Between those two, or was it both? See, I like both because I wanted the glory of, finishing. Yeah. But even being a part of a team, to me, and winning. But anyway, your turn.
Do you want to go first, Jackson?
No, go ahead.
Do I have to pick guts or glory?
Or both. And then explain.
Well, the funniest thing about it is how I truly came to it. And this was, it was almost... it's almost mandatory. Mm-hmm. I started out as a ski racer. I really liked skiing when I was young. And at one point in time, I remember asking my parents, I said, I'd like to be a ski racer. I thought I'd be really good at it. I was nowhere near the same technique style that the guys who raced were. And so I had to basically completely relearn how to ski. And I enjoyed being a part of the team. I enjoyed the friends. I enjoyed all that kind of stuff. I was not in very good shape. And I remember my father asked the coach at one point in time, he says, what does Patrick need to do to become a better ski racer? And he said he needs to do off-season training. May I recommend getting him a bike and racing his bike? I became a bike racer. I didn't really have a choice. It just happened. Mm-hmm. My father said, here's your bike. This is the Arrivee Cycling Club. You're going to go out and race with him. You're going to go for a training ride with him. Get on the bus.
Here's my credit card. Go to Denver.
Yeah, it sounds horrible. It sounds horrible, but at the time, I was a kid who was coming out of his parents divorcing, who really was an introvert who liked to sit in front of a TV and watch cartoons all day. That was me. That was who I was. And it became this way to bring me out of that shell. And so to answer guts or glory or both, I would say it's a little more towards the glory end, because what it was as I started riding, I naturally found out that I have this oxygen intake gift, mm-hmm. things like that. I had a VO2 that was really high with, just natural kind of things like that. My natural abilities brought me to the line, and I won my first race. And so that just became, wow, cool. I'm getting attention. People would pat me on the back. It became that. And then it became both, I guess. So I could go for hours, but it was such a weird transition and then after so many years, I kept, it's so easy when you start off doing well with something, because then it's a small increment.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you go away for a while and you got to start at the bottom again, that's the hard part. And that's been my later life with cycling, because I left for a while.
Did you ever find like the gut side, the guy who crashes, comes back, and fights his way up to? Did you romanticize about that stuff?
For other people or myself?
Whether it was you or anybody else.
You know what the funny thing is it was so much more of an emotional game for me growing up. I had some teammates who were bullies, who were absolute dicks. And
I know them.
Yeah. And part of my emotional growth was saying, I'm going to kick your fucking ass someday. Mm-hmm. And so I worked on that and dealt through those types of demons. I don't know if I ever really knew, I was just like, I'm going to be at the pointy end because I want to be that dickhead. I want to show them up. So, so I don't know, I read a lot about some of the pro cyclists, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. Sean Kelly was my man. Bernard Hinault was a man. I mean, for a shallow, shy kid to see Bernard Hinault was unbelievable. Mm-hmm. This guy's just telling people what the fuck to do. That's my guy. I want that poster. That poster is still in the other room, because that's the guy I looked up to, because that's who I wasn't.
Yeah.
So, sorry, long answer.
How about you, Jackson? No, this is what it was after.
Well, what got me into it, I guess, was
Dad.
Well, I mean,
you're gonna get on the bus.
Yeah. The influence was always there. I mean, it was never, something that I didn't have in my life. But when I was younger in grade school, I did cross country, and I was pretty good at it. But I hated it.
Fucking great at it.
I hated it so much because there was so much pressure. They saw that I was good at it, and everybody at my school went, Jackson's gonna win everything. And so after a while, I just hated that pressure. I hated everyone looking at me. That was also something I really didn't like. And so I played soccer for a really long time, all the way up until I was a junior in high school. And then I started to hate that because there was so much pressure in it. But after a while, I came to cycling again, and I think it was out of necessity. I didn't know what it was like to not do something competitive. Yeah, I have that bone in me that wants to beat other people so desperately for some reason. So I think originally when I first started, it was all that glory. When I first started cycling, I remember that same situation with cross country happened. I was good, and I could just go through the lower categories, and it sounds really cocky, but with ease. That Cat 4s for me was a playground. Mm-hmm. Moving into the 3s, I think, was a bit of a, not shock to the system, but a little bit of just a readjustment. And so after a while, I had a year where I crashed or, mishaps happened, and it became that guts of like, I'm going to work my ass off to try and be one of the best in the region. And I think that's the way I currently am. And that is a lot of pressure, but it's all on myself. And I always used to be the kid whenever I played soccer or anything like that. I wasn't the loud one. I was the quiet one, but I was forced to be the loud one. And I think that as I've grown older, I've realized that quiet and that humility is my strength. And it's what keeps me going. It's that inner voice saying, you can do better. What can you do better next time? And so now it went from that glory to, I think the guts of like, I think I can do this. And I know I'm pretty good, but I just got to keep going for it. I got to keep bringing myself up no matter how much it takes. And that's a lot, still a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But I think I have that in me that's like, what can you do next? What's that way you can bring yourself up to the next level? So, yeah, I think that's what did it for me.
The proverbial next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will always be that way. And that's why I started doing the stuff that I'm doing now. It's what can I do better next year that I didn't do this year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself as a lifelong cyclist?
Yeah.
Like even after the two of us are buried and gone?
Yeah, I think that it's just...
I'll be sooner than later.
Well, you never know.
I think it's wired in me. I don't think I know anything else.
Yeah.
I was kind of from when I started playing soccer in kindergarten.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like to not do something competitively. So I think I
will just say on that same note that you're talking about is the joy that I got from my first bike race to the last bike race that I did. It's the same enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm way slower. I don't have,
Yeah.
everything's a little bit off, but that excitement, that's what brings me back. And I think that it's hard to do that in other sports. And we've talked about that in the tour. I mean, we can go over to France and ride the Tourmalet, like these two knuckleheads.
Yeah.
All this, we're in that stadium. You get right next to your heroes. This is an unusual sport, and it's a lifetime sport. And I had to quit basketball because everybody I knew about my age were snapping their Achilles.
Yeah.
And then it's this thing. Yeah, we could crash, we get hit by a car, but we have that desire for competition, and this is the way it feeds my soul.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you got to admit is a beautiful part about the system, and I hate to compare it to golf with handicaps and things like that, but because the age group concept is in existence, you can still continue to pursue being a top level cyclist, even though you're not, at the pointy end of the Cat 1-2s or something like that, and that's where the, age grouping really does. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank fucking God. And that's where, I talk all year throughout the Twilight series about the fact that right now I want to race with the A's, but I should race with the B's, but I don't, it's this crossland, and stuff like that. I'm not saying I'm going to crush the B's. The B's are fucking fast, but it's like, I still want to be in the big guys.
If it wasn't for the age groups, I would just have to say, I have no place to go.
I got no place to go. Everybody watch Officer and a Gentleman this weekend. That's your required video homework.
Yeah.
We should have a movie requirement that you got to watch to be able to keep up with. I watched one the other day called Sorcerer. You ever seen it? No. With who's Roy Scheider from Jaws. This is not a science fiction movie. This is a movie about guys in like South America who have to transport nitroglycerin to a oil rig fire.
What?
And the only reason it's called Sorcerer is because one of the trucks is named Sorcerer. Fucking rent this movie. I mean, it's live. It's free on YouTube. It is like 78 minutes. It's freaking brilliant for a movie made in 1977. I'm telling you. Anyway, did I get excited?
Yes, you did.
I was here the other day, and I was cleaning up shit down here, and I saw it, and I hit play on it, and the next thing I knew, I wasn't cleaning shit. I was just, I lowered this seat like this, and I was sitting here like this, just watching the movie, just like, oh my God, this is good. Michelle's yelling at me. I'm like going, in a minute!
And the beer's right there.
I should have.
Yeah.
I should have, but I didn't, because it was too early.
Never.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that brings us to once again the end of another Packfiller podcast.
No.
No, we didn't do Jackson.
No.
Oh, shit, fuck. I got super excited.
Yes, you did. You wanted to end on the movie thing.
Yeah.
Sorcerer. Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. Sorry, Jackson.
No, it's okay.
Cool down with Jackson Bulger. It's just Paul's segment.
It was a good one.
Good segment.
Yeah, it was a good one.
And no offense. Bar said hi. Don't fuck this up.
No pressure.
Yeah, none at all.
Everybody's looking at you.
Get on the bus.
Yeah.
Go to a bike race.
Yeah, seriously. What I've been thinking a lot about, though, is I've been kind of creating a new routine for myself as I've made as I've been very open about. And I've been trying to be very strict about that. And I know that everybody else has something different. My question is, what's yours? Because I'll tell you mine to answer first. Mondays are weights. Tuesdays is ride. Wednesdays is weights. Thursday is ride. Friday is weights. Saturday and Sunday are rides. Those are my days. And then I have different parts of the body for weights on each day. But do you have a specific set schedule throughout the week that you follow every single week without fail? Or is it just kind of loosey-goosey?
Well, in the past, it's always writing, nothing else. I did do yoga, as I've mentioned in the past, but I in our ride, your dad and I's ride, I think I'll sign up for systems this year, so I can do have a program. with my wife's work, I have a block of time that I can actually commit to that. So I do need upper body strength because of my age. And, there's all kinds of things that I know that I'm weak at. So I'm looking forward for the first time to do like yoga, some upper body and some balance, because my lateral is so bad because everything's on a bicycle. I don't have to worry about it. But if somebody hit me from the side, I'd fall over easy. So, I'm looking forward to a program. I will have a program. At least 5 days, 6 days a week. So
I think it's cool to have a program that incorporates multiple modes of exercise. The reason why I started weights, for instance, was because I found that when I was on my camping trip, I can't really lift that much that well. On the 4th of July, I needed my brother-in-law to come out and lift our cooler because it was too heavy. So I was like, I want to be a much more pliable and capable human, and then I'll be a lot stronger on the bike because I'm doing this as well. Especially if I'm going to beat those sprints next year. Dad, what's your schedule like?
You know what the funny thing is as a high school teacher, everybody knows that I don't have all summer off, so don't give me that shit. But my schedule is the weakest when I have the most time.
Yeah, I get you.
This summer I have, I've ridden consistently, but I haven't ridden with the focus that I did when I was working 7 to 5.
Isn't that interesting how we just we have to parcel out specific amounts of time?
And I'm much more effective during the training season. When I was in school, Mondays was always a strength day, but because of my shoulders, I always did it on the rowing machine. Tuesdays I rode. Wednesdays I did kind of like you. I flip-flop back and forth, and I wasn't taking a whole lot of days off because on my strength mornings it was 30, 45 minutes, kind of a thing like that. I have basically a home gym here. I have all kinds. I have fit balls. I have kettlebells. I have all this kind of shit. I have a fucking treadmill. And so I found that I'm like going, okay, if I do this and I just, like you say, Jackson, I remember the old classic Eddie Borshevitz thing was Monday was off, Tuesday was sprints, Wednesday was distance, Thursday was intervals, Friday was off, Saturday and Sunday were races, and that's what you did. That's what you rotated through. You just designated those days. You knew that's what you were doing the next morning, and it works.
It does.
The greatest thing about, I know all the online platforms have it. I was going to actually bring up online platforms, and if we were switching this year earlier in the show, but I cut it for time. But System is so great because you can incorporate all these things into it, and you can drag and drop shit on the System timeline. You can go like, Tuesday's a podcast day, I can't do shit, so I'm going to drag this over to Friday and drag this over to here. You're still getting the same stuff in. And that program,
so
works.
Who runs System? What's the name of that company?
Wow.
No shit. Damn.
Gee, I wonder where there's a link.
I wonder.
Yep. Yeah. So, thank you, Paul.
Yes.
I should mention sponsors more often, shouldn't
I? But the schedule is interesting, and I am very much this season a product of the Wahoo System schedule, and you're very right. Like, having that regimented time, it does pay off. It really does. And sticking to it, that is the hardest part to do, because especially you're in a situation where you're like, I'm just a little tired today, or I've got other stuff to do. It's like, if you stick to it, it will pay off.
Yeah.
So
I've also found there's a balance, not to contradict you, but there's a balance to also say, I'm going to drag this workout over here, or fuck it, I'm just going to delete it just today. Cold's in my head. I'm okay. I'm feeling a little raspy today. Just delete it and don't feel guilty about it. You're going to be okay. There are no World Cup points on the line here.
Yeah, and that's hard to remember.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to bring up.
Good segments, guys. God damn it. Make you guys write the show from now on. I wish I was.
You wouldn't want that.
I still say we got to do one time where Jackson's sitting here.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, if you give me the notes, I can do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Do your own notes.
Yeah.
I work during the day.
And let him look at it. Yeah. But write up
No,
some
yeah.
notes, and if he says, "No, this sucks," here's mine.
You know what though? Some
Yeah.
people don't do like I do. I've got as you people probably watch when they watch the YouTube. I'm looking down at some of the smart ass comments I'm making because I wrote them out ahead of time. Kiss my ass.
Well,
But
you're not. You just pulled back the curtain.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Tonight's, first of all, thanks everybody for being here. Tonight's final question. It was so nice without the Waples. God, I just said that like Trump. Just a thought that popped into my head and I went, there's people.
Those Waples.
There's the Waples.
They're good people.
Good people, but
good
they're
people.
bad. They're bad. Final question. The final K is, what guilty pleasure show are you currently a gigantic fan of?
Okay.
Yep. Got one?
Yep.
Go for it.
Love Island.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We are watching a docu-series, but
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
how can you pass that?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't. Oh shit, you
Yeah,
can't.
it'd be a good docuseries.
Yeah.
Paul?
I think it's done, but it's on BritBox, or maybe it's Acorn.
I knew it was
It's a
going to be
British,
something fucking
because
BritBox.
that's all we watch. But they're like that cozy mystery, and it's called Madame Blanc, and it's simple, but it's done in Provence, France, and the architecture and everything's great. So
Oh,
nice.
there you go.
I will admit I have two. One is when my wife and I are together. It's Bachelor in Paradise
nice.
because the old people are allowed this year.
Right.
And the other one is when Michelle goes to bed. I'm rewatching Sonic Highways, the docu-series that Foo Fighters did. That did
Oh.
Foo
Oh,
Fighters.
there you
yeah.
go.
Great. They cover a town. They cover the sound systems. They cover nerd audio geek shit. And then they end with the song. And I'm like jumping up and down in my living room going,
Great
and it's
band.
3 o'clock in
Yeah,
the morning.
great
Yeah.
band.
Yep, it is. You guys, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I got to find something to trade for. Well, Paul's got to train for his guilty, his
Yeah, punishment.
His
So
punishment,
we're going to have to come up with a date for that.
Yep.
And we will
I
shortly-
might have to do an amendment on that.
Yeah?
After climbing it. Can we say 6? I will shoot for
Yes.
8, but I
No.
think
6. 6 is good.
is fine.
if I feel like I can do more, I will
If
do
you
more.
do it
but
more than twice, honestly,
that-
I'll give it to you.
Freaking brutal.
Packfiller
It is
majority
stupid.
is in. We
Jesus.
have a quorum. Packfiller majority is here. All in favor, say aye for
Aye.
6.
6.
Aye.
I will do more
Aye,
if I
it
can.
is. Aye, it shall be.
All right.
Screw Sam. Catch you guys next